Hey traders, checking in on the stock market today. Daily lower highs very convincingly set as the bears came out swinging today. And I'm probably wearing the exact same outfit I was wearing in yesterday's video because that's life as a trader. Let's check out some charts. Hello and thanks for checking out chartguys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. So we'll start it off with QQQ. We knew to be looking for daily lower highs. I started off this morning saying, I am looking bearish, and if I don't see any bearish entries that I like, then I don't trade today. So the bears obviously had significant control today. We were not anticipating as significant of a bearish day, but it's nice to know what direction to be looking because of the daily downtrend as our guide. We knew we were just looking for daily lower highs, and even after the extreme strength that we saw in some names like Amazon and even QQQ itself with the high close yesterday, that very quickly being erased. Can we drop to daily lower lows from here? Yes, absolutely. Again, we're in a daily downtrend, so we have to anticipate the possibility that we can always see another leg down. So the support level on QQQ that we're going to be watching for the next couple days, most notably tomorrow, is 260.11. If that level holds, and if the bulls change the hourly trend back in their favor, then we will be looking at a daily higher low being set. But already the size of the pullback today, over 3%, is a bit of a red flag. Bulls would have liked to have seen 1.5% of pullback and a bit more gradual and controlled consolidation. So the bears had an absolute feast the second half of the day. They were in control the majority of the day, but the second half is where they really spread their wings, if you can imagine some bears with wings, and the bulls just struggled. They could not get over the 2-minute, 12-period exponential resistance. When we finally did, the bulls struggled at the 5-minute, 12-period exponential resistance. One thing that stands out to me is volume. Where is the bear volume? We dropped 3% today, and this volume is not notable in the slightest. I look back to this candle, and I can say, okay, we had 5% more volume on August 27th and a range of $5. Today, we had less volume than that and a $9 range. If we're going to find a day that was comparable to this, we're looking back here to September 10th with a higher open, knowing we were just looking for a daily lower high. It's actually a very similar day. And the volume there, 60%, 65% more volume for a very similar size drop. So I'm not sure where the volume is. I would have expected a lot more bear volume. If you cover up that candle and you ask me what happened today, I'd say, okay, daily lower high has been set. We might have even held the low of yesterday. And if you covered up the volume and showed me that candle, and I would say that's probably the highest volume day we've seen in the last 4 or 5 days. And neither would be correct. So again, it's a bit unusual that the volume is not seeing as significant. It's not aligning with what the price and the percentage drop is. So if we see further weakness from here, what I am going to pull up again is our trusty NQ chart. And what I care about more on this 4-hour time frame is the support line. The resistance line is less important for me now because I'm just watching the daily downtrend. That's my guide. Clear daily lower highs. If we were to drop down and test our support, if the bulls are able to hold this downtrend line, we know to be watching for the potential of even a bear break and a lack of follow through if it can hold. So this is the most important support line for me. And we know the bulls must change the daily trend to shift momentum. And if we drop down and break that support level convincingly drop under this downtrend support line, the bears are going to have a whole lot of control. Not game over yet. And we know some names are positioned better than others. We look at Amazon. So Amazon still has multiple percent to work with to form a daily high or low. Apple, Netflix all have space. We know Google and Facebook were positioned less well for the bulls, and Google's already down testing its low. So there's Google testing its low, and we look at a name like Netflix or Apple, still a decent bit of space to work with to try and form that daily high or low. It's not game over for these bulls. It's just more pullback than they would like to see. So we'll be watching for potential bull entries tomorrow. There's not a whole lot of risk. You know, let's say Apple sees an open and then drops real quick to 105, if I make an entry and play off of 103 or 102 support, if I want to give a little bit of wiggle room, that's fairly small risk. So always love setups. For me personally, I love trade setups when I have a level nearby to be going off of. Keep that risk small. And that's what bulls are going to be looking for tomorrow. Today, bears were watching to play off the highs of yesterday as a potential close stop level. And that would have worked out on a lot of these names. And the bulls are going to be looking for a try for a higher low. That's another point. You know, I missed Amazon. I was talking about potentially adding Amazon into my IRA in daily oversold conditions. And the trade did not come to me. We did not hit daily oversold conditions. And rather than chase that bounce, I can tell myself, because I'm comfortable with trends, we're just going to form a daily lower high. I don't have to chase anything. I can look for an entry on the daily higher low if I want a second chance. So if I wanted that second chance, there's a gap to fill at 29.62. Watching for an entry. Stop would go under 28.71 if I want nice and contained risk. And Amazon has more space than any of the major tech names to try and form that daily higher low. The dollar is getting its bounce follow through. We knew if we got over 94, we would start seeing convincing follow through. We certainly have that at this point, and we're in an area with a lack of resistance. The next clear level is 96.40. That's a ways away. We know bigger picture, we are absolutely looking for a weekly lower high to form on this move, but we're also creating space now for a weekly higher low to then form once this move tops out. Question from here into the end of the year, can the bulls change the weekly trend? A weekly trend change to the bulls means 6-month equilibrium. And that'll be our 6-month higher low likely forming. And again, we can trade within the 6-month tightening range on the dollar for the next long time. Years, next year or two. So that's potential. And if the dollar does start settling down and seeing less volatility, then it's going to start having a less impact on our assets. But for now, certainly still impactful. IWM is a lead market bear because it has less tech exposure, which has been the bounce leader over the last 3 days, and it has more healthcare and financial sector exposure, which have been our weakest sectors over the last 3 days. So it's a clear drop today, a solid leg down, and on the monthly time frame for IWM, we have an equilibrium setup. High pre-COVID, low COVID, lower high, and now we're looking for a higher low. Tons of space to form that higher low compared to 95.69, but this is a beautiful equilibrium to be watching, and there's a lot of things that are shaping up for potential monthly equilibriums. We're watching oil for a potential monthly equilibrium. We're watching a lot of individual names. LMT was one. How's that for memory recollection? We've got high, low, lower high, higher low, scouting a potential lower high, and the most important support, 339.18. I love monthly equilibriums. The longer a pattern has been playing out, the more follow through we can expect. Just like gold had a 2-year monthly equilibrium that then played out for months when it broke, a monthly equilibrium can look for a couple months of follow through once we get a break. So IWM, monthly equilibrium watch, daily downtrend, bears in complete control. XLV, struggling to get any kind of bounce going, closing at the low of the day. Weekly time frame, significant shift in momentum, 95.42 is the most important support level from here. And we're looking for a monthly higher low compared to that 95.42 level. Monthly consolidation is taking place on a lot of assets, sectors, and stocks at this point. XLF is in absolute free fall. Ever since those leaked files came out, apparently some big money is realizing that they've been invested in criminal organizations this whole time. And we're looking down at 22.49 support. And it too is a monthly tightening range. So high, low, lower high. Bulls tried to keep it going, but now we're going to look for a monthly higher low compared to 17.49. Similar to IWM in that regard. And 3 out of the last 4 weeks, or months I should say, rejecting from monthly exponential resistance, and oil rejecting from monthly exponential resistance as well. High, low, lower high, scouting a monthly higher low compared to 24.43, and this is the November contract. Daily inside bar on oil today broke bullish, but no follow through. It was pretty much a 5-minute bull break, and I'm still looking at support of 38.87, and a little bit of a fake out. I don't like that this now makes things a little bit less clear, but you could say the daily downtrend remains intact if 38.87 support were to break. Biotech sector. So still trying to form that daily higher low and unable to do so. We had a solid bull day yesterday, but we noted we have not changed the hourly trend. We cannot believe the bulls that daily higher lows have been set until the hourly trend changes. So we pulled back, we gave it all back, and we broke 109.40, and we're starting from scratch again. Next time we bounce, we look for an hourly lower high, have to change the hourly trend for a daily higher low to form, anything above 103.20. SMH heading down towards support, nice and tight. NVDA has a very similar setup, couple key support levels coming into play. Again, I am of the mindset that when I play top fishing or bottom fishing plays, if I can get my risk small, I'll take that trade every single time. Because if I get stopped out, I take a lot of trades where I'll get stopped out and I'll lose a 20% day maker. And if that happens 5 times, there's my day maker, and I'm very confident that I can make that back in one trade on a better day. So on very low risk trades, playing off of support or resistance and giving some wiggle room, I love those setups. And that is my favorite kind of setup. So we can be watching for SMH and NVDA and our tech sector names and QQQ to try and hold these supports tomorrow. The VIX with a convincing day today, although let's see where we closed. So a bit more convincing. We had a level of 25.30. We bounced off 25.20. And it's the most convincing day that we've seen in the last week. We can say that much just in terms of closing higher than we opened. It's getting a little bit choppy in the volatility sector. We see UVXY closing up near the high of the day. A bit more convincing close there. And we can say that we have not set our weekly lower high yet with today's action favoring the volatility bulls. For anybody successfully swing trading the volatility sector, my hat goes off to you because that does not seem easy. Gold continues its drop. Daily inside bar bear break. We know that the metals have been hurt the most by the dollar move, and they are following through with it. Gold right now is at the lowest price that we have seen in months. Monthly consolidation is underway. Could it be a monthly bull flag? Yeah, if we can change the daily trend back to the bulls real quick. Either way, we're looking for a monthly high or low, but we'll be watching the monthly 12-period exponential support if this pullback keeps going. We are very extended on the 4-hour time frame as far as RSI goes, but where's our next support? After 1862s, we're looking down at 1795 as the next level. So there is a lack of support in this range. It is a very clear bear break, and we have to remind ourselves, next time we bounce on the 4-hour, we just look for a lower high. When we change the 4-hour trend, we zoom out, we look for a daily lower high. When we change the daily trend, we zoom out, we look for a weekly lower high. So names that have trends all in the same direction on all these time frames, it takes so long and so much work for the bulls to regain those trends in their favor, and it's just not ideal to be playing against all trends time frames, all time frames trends in a given direction. I would much rather, people talk about the Canadian MJ space, which is just getting absolutely trashed, and looking at oversold bounces. And for me personally, I can play an oversold bounce on a name coming off all-time highs, looking for the back burner trade for first hourly oversold conditions, which I did today on WKHS, and it went well. And I would so much rather do that on a name that is in a monthly, weekly, and daily uptrend seeing hourly consolidation versus a name that's in a monthly, weekly, daily, hourly downtrend and hoping that I time the bounce right and that we get a bounce big enough that it's worthwhile. Silver, even weaker than gold. Daily RSI oversold, monthly consolidation very significant. We've now retraced about 40% from the move from the year lows to the year highs, 40% pullback. We've hit our highs for metals for the foreseeable future. 2021, we could hit new highs, absolutely, but for the foreseeable future, those highs have been hit with the size of the pullback that we've seen from those levels. Miners, that's not updated, but they had a very clear bear break today. Monthly consolidation is underway. So a base of support in the 39s and upper 38s, clear bear break, big bear volume. That's the kind of volume you expect to see when you get a significant bear day. Weekly time frame from here, lack of support. And RSI levels can get overextended when there is a lack of support. The harder you run up, when you shift that momentum and you start pulling back, You drop fast because you did not establish a whole bunch of support on the way up. There was no support on GDX between 31.22 and the all-time high. I don't even know if that's the all-time high. The high. No support on the weekly time frame between those levels. Oil we did. Natural gas, big move. Look at that base of support established at 178 and then just a snap. That's the scales tilting. That's the bulls absorbing all the selling pressure. That's running out of any bears to short and running out of any bulls to sell their long position. And then you're left with only short covering and only bulls buying the dip. And then you see that massive move. So we know we're just looking for a daily lower high, but there is now enough space to be looking for a daily higher low to then be the result of the next time we consolidate. And the weekly is looking for a higher low to try and be set. Keeping in mind, we will be looking for a weekly lower high to be the result of this bounce. First things first, can the bulls change the daily trend? If so, once we do, we zoom out and remind ourselves that the weekly lower high is the more likely scenario. So tomorrow's going to be all about some key supports. And the dollar has a rising wedge on the hourly time frame to be keeping an eye on, which will likely lead to some overnight consolidation. Keeping an eye on that. Hope you have a good rest of your night. Establish your game plans. Use stop losses on every trade in both directions, because we are definitely entering an uncertain period here where the momentum shift has clearly taken place. And it's been very notable on Tesla. If you've been watching Tesla and QQQ over the last month, every day Tesla's stronger than QQQ. Over the last 3 days, that has changed. The bears had significant favor today, and we're going to look for a Tesla higher low compared to 329.88. And ideally, 4-hour oversold conditions while looking for that higher low. I'm done talking. Do good things. See you tomorrow. I was close to climbing down in here and getting these big weeds out of there. I didn't know it was golden seal, which is a good pollinator. And at this time of year, there's not a ton of stuff that's pollinating. So nice to leave that around. There's a bunch of it just off the sides of the roads and a pretty prominent natural weed. But a good one to keep around. This is Sweetie's spot. Overlooking standing guard. Checking in to show the trading station now, so adding some plants out here to the space in the sunroom, and this will be ideal in the spring and fall. In the summer it's pretty hot, and in the winter it's going to get chilly, although there is a heater already out here. So I got this standing desk, and it's electronic, where you push your button and it goes up. So that's good for the back, and got a new chair. Racing chair. This was less than $100. Certainly an upgrade for me from what I was previously using. Got a nice money tree. Got a little back massager that I throw onto my chair every now and again and get some back rubbing going. And it's got a nice view of the little waterfall and the bird feeder. And I watch a squirrel and a little chipmunk that lives nearby. He stuffs his fat cheeks every morning. So finding my happy place to ensure that I'm in the right mindset for trading. And out here, I'm going to, over the winter, take out a section of that grass and put a bunch of perennial flowers and try and attract some pollinators. I did see the first hummingbird out here yesterday, so attract some more pollinators and birds, and also probably put a fig tree and some blueberries out there as well. I also got some snail friends from the internet. I'm going to stick those into the little waterfall to try and combat some of the green and red algae in there. We'll see how that goes.